I guess we're not done here. If we learned anything in 2025 and now 2026, it's the same lesson we learned in 2022, 2023, and 2024. No matter how shitty, awful, or evil WWE is, people just do not care, or at the very least don't care enough for it to get in the way of their weekly wrestling fix. Sorry. Cinema now. How could I forget? And as I said in my other WWE and Nostalgia Bias videos and in various others covering topics like individualism, capitalism, and how companies can sell your soul back to you, I understand why people have this problem. If you've grown up in a world where ignorance and consumption go hand in hand, your favorite things often made and sold by the very people you shouldn't be buying or consuming from, you're gonna buy and consume from them no matter what, and I mean no matter what. Which in the case of WWE in 2025 and now 2026, it means ignoring them trying to monopolize the wrestling industry at any possible chance. It means ignoring their participation in sports washing for almost a decade to the point that they're now hosting WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia next year after hosting the Royal Rumble there this year. It means ignoring the return of an accused sex pest in a company full of sex pest sympathizers, ignoring the company's open endorsement of a fascist regime while apparently suppressing dissenting voices, and it means celebrating the retirement of the ultimate sex pest sympathizer while he preaches about accountability. And perhaps most egregiously of all, it means saving your anger for stuff which in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter at all. Like a botched heel turn, a bad WrestleMania, pushing the wrong guys and ruining a retirement when compared to everything else I just mentioned, this shit shouldn't even come into the conversation. And not only does it enter the conversation, it dominates it, and only if it continues to do so, and WWE fail to serve their audience in a manner that they've come to expect in the last 3 or 4 years, will any of the important stuff actually get a look in as anything even close to worth talking about, which is a fucked up way to have your priorities, don't you think? But take one look at the period between 2021 and 2024 as discussed in my last videos and you'll see exactly that. When WWE was creatively in the toilet, they got far more flack for being the scummy company that they are compared to the backlash they're receiving in 2026 with a far more satisfied customer base and a modern cultural and political climate nigh upon immune to controversy, no matter how disgusting or diabolical. These people would rather chant yeet than Google Janelle Grant, or fantasy book mania matches for Brock Lesnar instead of booing his ass out of the building every time he appears, or chant therapy at AJ Lee like these fan bases even care about the mental health of women unless it's someone they stand for. And of course it's not just the fans either, the wrestlers and people behind the scenes are just as embarrassing. Be it through AJ speaking about her mental health after returning on the same show as Brock Lesnar, or one Mr. Punk shedding any and all semblance of credibility he once had by working with that very same man at Survivor Series and doing tricks on that blood money covered deck in Saudi Arabia. Can I ask what happened to treating accused sex offenders like they're Chris Benoit? Can I ask that? Cody Rhodes can claim the company is an impartial brand while the company airs videos of Triple H at the White House. Seth Rollins could not understand why having a Tesla and being shocked that people judge him for it is a brain-dead decision, while Becky Lynch chooses now of all times to rip off the President of the United States, which in fairness is at least only the second most offensive way WWE has dabbled in half-assed political satire in the last year. Even guys I want to support like Sami Zayn can't even be taken seriously when working for a company as evil as this, and this isn't even mentioning your Logan Pauls and Pat McAfees of the world, or your washed-up quote-unquote legends with the worst takes imaginable. The wrestlers are just as much marks as the fans themselves, and as much as they're a part of the problem too, they're also just equally as much the victim here. These wrestlers grew up the same way a large portion of the fan base did, in a consumer-driven, capitalistic and individualistic society that presents being a part of the bourgeoisie as a goal to live by, no matter the consequences. It means prioritizing your individual goals over the collective good any day of the week and twice on Sunday. It means working a Saudi show or Brock Lesnar if it puts you in the main event of WrestleMania. Just like the fans, the wrestlers don't care either. Or at the very least they view it as an acceptable pill to swallow in the pursuit of a larger and personally more important goals. This is an ingrained societal problem which goes from top to bottom, from WrestleMania main eventer Joe to average Joe in the stands, and is a problem which often reminds me of the famous quote from legendary comic writer Alan Moore, which may seem hyperbolic but isn't wrong in the slightest. Nostalgia, and by extension nostalgia bias, is a deeply powerful thing, as that urge for simpler times and simpler realities like Alan Moore talks about lends itself so well to ideologies which skip over morals in the pursuit of personal goals and glory, or the enjoyment of passions and pastimes. It's why CM Punk, ultimate iconoclast, anti-authority renegade, cried after his WrestleMania main event in front of Triple H, because for all his bluster and talk about a wrestling revolution, all he ever wanted was to be that top guy in that position in WWE in whatever rose-tinted version he currently sees it through. The reality, though, is that it's just plain ignorance, taught or otherwise, of the very real pressing realities which lie beyond whatever personal goal or passion that you have. An age-old tale of greed and selfishness that's so woven into the fabric of our society that you can hardly criticize people for succumbing to it, but that won't stop me from saying that it just isn't right. I question at what point this will change. In the case of WWE and the fans becoming more vocal and caring towards the way the sausage is made, because you'd love to think it would be Vince coming back or something, but by the way his name has been chanted at Triple H following poor booking decisions, or the way they've acted towards Brock Lesnar coming back onto television, I doubt that'd even be an issue at this point. I firmly believe this is a problem too deeply ingrained in our everyday lives and how the modern world works, that it's way, way bigger than wrestling or WWE or those who participate in or consume it. It spreads to every single facet of the world that we're in today, but it holds true that WWE and the nostalgia bias it brings out of people in and out of the company is one of the best examples, at least I can think of how people will outright give up on their morals and show what they're willing to look past if it scratches that nostalgic itch, which is depressing for sure. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments below. Enlist in the narrative war. Do all the YouTube things for moi, please and thanks. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.